chasing top speeds, we let them catch that lure. So, does anyone know the top speed of a cheetah? Shout it out if you do know it.
65.
You guys know it? It's pretty fast. Did you say 62? That was a really good guess. Yeah, it's between 60 and 70 miles per hour as their top speed. That's a very fast animal. In fact, we can show those same speeds here on this track. Cheetahs can do that incredible speed on this distance because of their acceleration. If anyone has ever been on Cheetah Hunt, that roller coaster going off behind you, it emulates the acceleration of a cheetah. They can go 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds flat. Let that sink in a little. If you're a car guy, you probably understand that that's faster than a lot of supercars. Cheetahs can accelerate to those top speeds incredibly quickly, but it takes a whole bunch of energy to do it. So what cheetahs are built for is those short sprints. They can't run for very long, especially when they're maintaining those top speeds. What they're going to do is they're going to sneak up as close as they can to their prey. They're going to give it that burst of speed and try to catch their prey. Now, out in Africa, if you successfully catch your prey, you're probably going to do the same thing on the next run. And if you don't, you're going to try something different. And that's the same principle that we use when we set up this equipment. When our cheetahs come out here and run, 50% of the time they will catch it, and 50% of the time they will not. So this encourages them to try something different when they come out here and do different cheetah runs. I'm going to be running the machine, so it's my job to read Kiara's behavior and keep that lure right in front of her and keep her interested in the run. And if she shows all of her amazing adaptations, showing off that top speed, when she's at that really high speed, that's when we let her catch that lure, so that she shows us the same speeds in the next run. All of our cheetahs here are in different stages of their learning to run. Kiara's been with us for about 5 years. She is 8 years old, and she had to learn how to run at the age of 3. That was really interesting because she had to figure out that her large body can, in fact, be graceful. She had to learn to turn, she had to learn to put on the brakes, and she bounced off of things a couple times. She would do some tumbles, but she learned very quickly how her body works. And she's very muscular. She's, in fact, our heaviest cheetah out of all 9 that we have here. Usually males are the heaviest, but females can be heavier than males, and she's all muscle. So what we expect from Kiara is to see her launch out of the gate at the back corner of our exhibit there. That gate is how we start our cheetah runs. So when all of our equipment is set up, you guys are going to look at that back gate, and when she's ready, that gate will open and she will run. Now, if she doesn't want to run, she doesn't have to. All of our training is based on something called free contact, freedom of choice training when we're in here, and freedom of choice training based on something called positive reinforcement training. Has anyone heard of positive reinforcement training before? It's been thrown around a couple times. It's very useful in schools. So basically, positive reinforcement training is when you see a behavior that you like, you back that up with something called a reinforcer or a reward, something that's worth the work to get it. So whenever we have our cats out here or any other areas that we train them, if they do something we're looking for, we back that up with reinforcement. And if they're wrong or if they do something incorrect, we do absolutely nothing. We don't use punishment. We don't tell them they're wrong. Instead, we let them think through it and figure out what we are asking of them. And then we back it up with reinforcement. And then we see that behavior go up. It's an amazing technique because it actually helps us build our relationship with all of our cheetahs as well. Hence the name, positive reinforcement training. Everything is based on positivity, and I do want to impress on you guys that we are in the same space as a 100-pound carnivore. The only difference between Kiara and a cheetah out in Africa is that we have trained her so long with this positive reinforcement training. Otherwise, she's just like her African counterparts. So when we work with Kiara and our 8 other cheetahs besides Kiara, all of our relationship is built when it's a protected contact between a fence, and then eventually we come out here and work with them in the same space as them. This takes a lot of training on our part. We have to learn all sorts of things about behavior, the individual animals that we're working with, and the cool part is we see this behavior change all the time. So we're always learning, and so are they. And hopefully we can show off the fruits of Kiara's labors out here today. Now, when cheetahs are running, it takes a lot of energy, but the way they are able to get to the top speed is because they have something called quick muscle fibers. They can move very quickly, and they can move those muscles very quickly, but it takes a lot of juice to do it. Now, their feet are specialized, kind of like athletes' cleats. Their claws are always out. If you ever see your kitty cat at home, or if you see a lion or a tiger paw, they're a big fluffy paw, and then those giant sharp needles come out, right? Well, cheetahs, like Kiara, are different. Their claws are always out. They have built-in cleats so that they can dig into the ground and accelerate to those top speeds. Their vision is not made for being up close. Instead, they can see from far away. So the reaction time is incredibly quick, but not if it's too close to their face. So as I run the lure, which is basically a bundle of feathers that is going to be tied onto the string, what she's going to look for is that lure, and if I make a reversal on the track, I expect her to turn and keep track of that lure. So it's a fun game of chase and catch for Kiara as well. Now, being that they're chasing after a bundle of feathers, that's different than chasing after your food. What do you think happens when you show a cheetah, a predator like a cheetah, a bundle of feathers? Most of them want nothing to do with it. In fact, Kiara hissed and spit at that bundle of feathers and wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. Some of our cheetahs pat and bat it around, some of them open their mouth at it, but it takes a lot of training and pairing that lure with some of her favorite things. So what we would do is we would bring her out, ask her to catch it, and when she did, we would throw her a party. So that's the reinforcers, all the favorite foods, all the favorite goodies, even our relationship with these cheetahs is something that we can use to improve and work as a positive reinforcer. Now, while Kiara is out here, we're going to ask her to do all sorts of different things to keep her mind busy and keep her interested in the session, because Kiara's thing is she loves to learn. We do different things with her all the time to keep her on her toes and not expect too much from the training session, because we don't want it to be boring for her. So whenever we do these presentations, if you ever swing by an exhibit, please check out the sign out in the front of the exhibit that tells you what times our presentations will be today, and every day that you come by. And our second presentation today is going to be with one of our youngest cheetahs at 1:30 as well. So if you see the Kiara run and you come back at 1:30, you're going to see a completely different run, because animal behavior always changes. We don't even know what Kiara's exactly going to show us when she's out here. So you can see that Justin is giving that lure machine a test run right here. And we need to make sure that everything is in working order, all the pulleys are in the right spot, and that the string is safe for the cheetah to run. These are athletes. They can run between 60 and 70 miles per hour, so we have to be careful and safe with all the equipment that we use out here. We even have a safety spotter behind the scenes that's going to keep an eye on us and our cheetah at all times while we're out here. We do different training sessions of all sorts whenever we're out here on the habitat with our cats. It can be simply a hangout and relate, where we do pretty much nothing but hang out and increase their likability of being out here. We want them to enjoy being out here. There's a lot of different guests that walk by, and that roller coaster is pretty noisy and goes on in the background as well. But thanks to our positive reinforcement training, we've made it super fun for our cheetahs to be out here. Now, we have 9 different cheetahs that call Cheetah Run home, and all 9 of them are different personalities, but I want to impress again that Kiara here is one of the strongest, most intelligent runners that we have here. We're going to try to figure out the finishing touches on this machine here. We need to make sure that it's working functionally. This machine is controlled by a remote control, and the remote control goes forwards, backwards, and it's got a button for go. It's connected to a car battery, which sometimes gives us issues like it is right now, but that's okay because we're behavior trainers, not technology professionals, more or less. So we like to figure out the finishing touches and make sure that it's working properly before we go into any of these runs. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about cheetahs, especially if we can get Kiara out here to actually do this run here. Their tail is super special. So when we get this machine working and she's running, I want you guys to watch her tail. Cheetah tails are very muscular. They're kind of triangular shaped because of how powerful they are. They have a big fluffy ball on the end of their tail. It kind of works for aerodynamics, and it works so that she can use it like a rudder on a boat. So when cheetahs are running and they put on the brakes, they put their tail up in the air. So if you watch her tail go up, that means she's putting on the brakes. If her tail is out straight, that means she is accelerating. And when she turns, this is the coolest part, she actually pivots her tail in the opposite direction of where she's turning so she can contain her momentum as she turns so she doesn't fall over. So being that they are built for speed, they're not very good at turning left and right, but they have to learn how to, because the food they're chasing after out in Africa is usually impala and gazelle. Very fast animals that other creatures cannot catch except for the cheetah. But they're not just going to run in a straight line like we have set up here. They bounce around, they go back and forth, left, right, and they even reverse directions. So that's what we do with this machine as well. For most of our presentations, we will do the down and back, which is what we have set up right now. This shows off the acceleration and the speed of a cheetah. Or we can switch the pulleys so that they make zigzag patterns. We can go around that tree, or we can even go around the rock in the back to challenge them to be able to turn and change their angles. The actual habitat was built with cheetahs in mind. Every layer of this emulates out in Africa, how they would have highs and lows, and they can even sit up on high perches to watch our guests. Cheetahs can see up to 3 miles away. It's really impressive. They don't exactly have 3 miles away to see from this point, but they can see things in clear detail from a distance. What cheetahs will do is they will sneak up nice and close to their prey, and they will take off running, and then when they catch their prey, they will go back into the shadows and hide, and that's what all those amazing spots on their body are for. But I think we finally figured out what is going on with our machine here. We need to make sure that it is working once again. I see those feathers are moving back and forth, and I think we are ready to run Miss Kiara here. So thank you for your patience and hanging out with us while we set up all of our equipment. I'm going to make sure that I give this machine a test run really quickly because I'm the guy that's going to be running her, and then we will go right into this here cheetah run. So Kiara looks like she's ready behind the scenes there. She's pacing back and forth. I'm going to check this machine and make sure it's going and ready. It looks like it is, but I have a question for all of you out front. Are you ready to see a cheetah run? Fantastic. What we're going to do is we're going to count down together from 5 down to 1, and on 1, that gate will open. So count down loudly with me so Kiara can hear us. Starting at 5, 4, and she was ready on 2. Excellent job by Kiara! She actually did a fantastic job there. She caught that lure for exactly what we were asking of her, and now she has that prized possession in her mouth there. She caught that feather lure, she did a great job, and she's going to do the same thing that she would do out in Africa if she caught her prey. And she's going to hang out with it until she is ready to move on. But we have a different behavior that we trained up Kiara here. And it's a very impressive behavior because she learned it, and she's one of the first of our cheetahs to learn this. She knows a retrieval behavior. So this retrieval behavior is simply asking her to give us back the feather lure when she's done with it. So if she wants to hang out with that feather lure for another 30 minutes, she's totally welcome to. But if she is done with it, she can actually place it back in that bucket, and then she will get some reinforcement that makes it worth her while. Not bad, right? Yeah, she earned that round of applause. She's a very smart kitty. So what she's going to ask her to do again is fix the lure. It sounds like a lot of work, but Kiara here finds that to be very reinforcing. She finds it fun to be able to solve problems. So when she took a step forward, she actually knocked her lure out of the bucket, and Justin is asking her to fix that lure now. And if she does fix it, once again, we'll throw her a party and tell her that she did a great job. But that lure is actually right beneath her there, and she thinks she's supposed to be with me. She is not.
That's funny.
So yeah, I walked in front of her and she's like, oh, you're here. I think I'm supposed to be with you. But Justin got her back and he's going to ask her to fix that retrieval once again. So she picks up that feather lure with her mouth and she puts it back in the bucket. This way, she has control over her training session and she can tell us when she wants to move on with it. Freedom of choice is a huge part of our training sessions here. It lets the animal know that you are in control of everything that we do out here. If Kiara is incorrect and she's doing something different, we won't change the environment. We'll just leave it be. And if she is correct in the future, that's when we make a difference and we see that behavior go up. So she's a very smart kitty, and she works really hard to be an ambassador for her species. You guys are all here to see a cheetah, and there she is. She represents her species as a member of Species Survival Plan, and also she's raising awareness so that you all can see a cheetah up close and personal, when you would otherwise have to see her out in Africa. So Kiara will be with us for a couple more minutes as she continues to do retrievals, and Justin keeps working on this training session here. But I'm so glad you guys could be here to actually see a cheetah run. What do you guys think? It's pretty awesome, right? Yeah, if you guys want to come back and see another cheetah run, I know they're short, but we do a bunch throughout the day, and we have one planned at 1:30, and that is our youngest member, Dash. And Dash is an incredibly good retriever and